In the today's class, we will discuss about the topic on the viruses. So usually the microbes are very microscopic of the organisms. So these microbes have a beneficial use and also the harmful applications. So when you look at the characteristics, or in the previous classes you are learn about some of the characteristic definition of these microbes. The first, that's a virus. What are viruses? According to the Green 1935, viruses are the smallest unit showing the reproductive properties considered typical of the life. Some of the other scientists say that these viruses are the obligatory parasitic pathogens with at least one dimensions less than the 200 micro units. So these viruses are sometimes act as a living organisms, or sometimes maybe act like a non-living organisms. So what are the, just look at the history of these viruses. So first, French microbiologist Charles has invented to started the viruses with his an specialized filter chamber called as Chamberlain filter. From that, he first started in 1884 to isolate the viruses. Later, the important person, this Livansky, in 1892, he is a Russian biologist. So, first time he has filtered the virus from tobacco mosaic disease. The name of the virus is tobacco mosaic virus. So later in 1898, Dutch scientist Martinus was started to some of the experiment on the viruses. In the later century, Frederick has worked on the bacteriophages. So like that, so many scientists has worked on, and recently in 1906, Harrison has invented the method of growing tissues in the in lymph sites. So like that, so many scientists in 1828, Maitland, like that, so many persons are worked on viruses, and even recently in 1950 worked on a polio viruses. So like that, the various scientists has worked on the study of the virus and their properties. The virus have the both living and the non-living properties. The first, we can look at the characteristic of the virus. What are the characteristic? First one, they are obligatory intracellular parasites. Second one, they contains DNA or RNA as a genetic material, and they consist of the protein coat. Some of them are enclosed with the envelope. Some viruses have the spike-like structure, and most of the viruses will infect to the specific type of the cells in a host, and the host range will be determined by specific host attachment site in a cellular factors. So these are the some general characteristic. But the virus is not a cell. So it is a virus is unlike the cell. It never grows, respires, carries on the metabolism. But what are the important living characteristic of virus? That's a genetic material, and inside the host they act as a parasites. So that's why they are called as a living organisms. So outside the cell, just it look like a small particle. It can be filter also. That's why it is also called as non-living organisms also. So just we can look at the structure or the size of the microbes or the viruses. The virus is size is varies from the different viruses. For example, if you take the bacteriophage, it is about 225 nanometer. So like that, even small polio, if you take the polio virus, that's a 30 nanometer. Or if you take the rabies virus, it is around 117 to 70 nanometer. Or if you take the some Ebola virus, it is a 970 nanometer. So the rhinovirus, it may be a 30 nanometer, and TME, that's a tobacco mosaic virus, it is 215 to 18 nanometer. So like that, the size will be varies. If we take the E. coli bacterium, it may be up to 3000 into 1000 nanometers. So like that, the sizes of the viruses will be varies. So generally, the based on their size and the genetic material, the viruses are categorized into a different types. So what are those?